I'm with New Currency University, and I know a lot of people run across negative articles on the internet about digital currency, about OneCoin, heck, YoCoin, Swisscoin. There's a lot of negativity out on the internet because there's a lot of competition for a very valuable space. And in this video, I want to help you how to kind of discern between the truth and what is I call bullshit, and I tell everybody, websites lie, numbers don't lie. And in this video, I want to show you how to come up with the numbers. I want to show you how to really analyze a cryptocurrency, because it's very important that, a cryptocurrency can develop a community for it to survive. If a cryptocurrency falls on deaf ears, nobody's going to use it. No vendors are going to sign up. No merchants are going to use it. And it'll fail miserably, kind of like Crypto 888 did, and several others that I'm going to show you. So one of the things that I do is I show people how to build portfolios of digital currency. And we are at the very beginning of cryptocurrency. Let's go back to 91, 93, 94 of the internet, and you had UUNet, you had CompuServe, you had MindSpring, you had Netscape. You had all these different internet providers, and nobody knew who was going to make it. Netscape was the brainchild of Mark Andreessen. No one had to have made it, right? Well, it did well over time, but it ends up that AOL comes along, and everybody's like, "Oh, AOL's the biggest thing. It's going to be the biggest," and it was. And then, of course, oh my God, here comes Google, and Yahoo, and who is going to be the biggest provider? Well, you don't have a crystal ball, and neither do I. So what I like to do is I like to diversify into multiple companies. Some are going to make it, some aren't. The ones that do make it are probably going to get me 25, 50, 100x on my money, so they will offset the ones that don't make it. So while you're busy trying to find reasons why not to invest in a company, I'm looking at reasons why I should diversify into many companies. So, there's people that have a glass is half empty view on life. Oh, they've got scarcity mindset. I don't have that. I know that I'm going to invest in some companies that simply are going to go out of business. And I'm good with that, because the ones I'm investing in as a broad portfolio, there may be 2 or 3 out of 10 that take off like rockets that easily offset my losses by many times over. So I just want to kind of let you know my philosophy. If you're a risk manager, you understand what I'm saying. If you understand proper diversification into investments, and I tell everybody that the great thing about digital currency is it's a beautiful hedge against your declining dollar. And if you don't think it's declining, your dollar's lost 40% of its value, you ought to be more concerned about the negative news about that than anything, because we look at what's going on in this country with the amount of debt we're having to issue. It's staggering. So I don't want to get off on that tangent, but let me get into Alexa.com. Okay, Alexa.com is an Amazon company. Do you trust Amazon? I trust Amazon. They're a good company. They put out accurate numbers. I've never had a problem with Amazon. Okay, so the first thing I do when I look at a company, or somebody says, "Hey Tom, you ought to invest in Crypto 888." I go, "Okay, that sounds like an awesome idea. I've got some money in my portfolio that I would like to put into it." So I go to Alexa.com, I scroll down the page, and I enter the site. So I go Crypto 888. Okay. By the way, I'm going to cover the negative news media articles. I also want you to know there's a reason why people like Cointelegraph and news.bitcoin.com advertise negative articles about companies like OneCoin, because they get tons of traffic from it. In fact, one of the websites, over 15% of their traffic comes from one negative article about OneCoin. So if you're in the news reporting business, you love opportunities like that to bash a company and get negative news, because it draws traffic to your website. So let's look at Crypto 888. Now, Alexa ranks websites based off of their worldwide global traffic. So how do you feel about Crypto 888 right now? Would you put money in this deal? No, not unless you're captain of the Titanic. Okay, we don't want to invest in Crypto 88 because it is tanking, and what that means is they haven't been able to sustain their community, And at 426,000 on their global rank, that means they might have 5 or 6,000 website visitors coming to their website, and it's probably those people that are looking to get their money back, which ain't gonna happen. So it's that one's dead. Okay, so maybe we ought to look at, somebody says, hey, you ought to invest in Swisscoin. Okay, well, let's take a look at Swisscoin. And Swisscoin, there it is, .com. So let's take a look at it. Okay, Swisscoin's got a nice chart. You know, it looks like they're building a community. However, they're still only at 62,000, which is not a lot of traffic. And so, you know, maybe they got 5 or 10,000 unique visitors, but hey, that could multiply. If they break above 50,000, you know, on Alexa, which the lower the number, the better, by the way. Okay, I don't know if it's Google or Facebook is number one. One of them is number one. But anyway, 62,000 still doesn't get my attention, but this chart does. I'll check back on this probably monthly to see if they break in, because if they do, that means they're going to start reaching a critical mass, and they could actually take off. So that one looks pretty interesting. Then your friend kind of calls you. By the way, there's other analytics. You can see where the traffic's come, different countries, what's the trend of their search traffic. So I like Alexa. It gives me a little bit of intelligence, better than, say, some of the news sites that you read that are really just yellow journalist sites. They're just peeing on things to see if they can get people's attention. That's what we call yellow journalism. And so let's look at, say, OneCoin, or One Life, which is their new social networking community site. They moved everybody from OneCoin to One Life, so OneCoin's not getting the traffic anymore. One Life is. So if you look at OneCoin site, you'll see that it's declining, but it's not that. It's because they moved all the traffic to One Life. So let's take a look at One Life. Okay, well, that's pretty much a straight line up, and their rank is 6,745. That puts them at about, I don't know, 1.5 million unique visitors per month, which is a lot of traffic, And that means a lot of people are gaining awareness of One Life and OneCoin. And so watching that is pretty strong. And look at its rank in China, which is just staggering, to be 5372 just in China alone. And you can look at some other stats on OneCoin down here, and you can see the majority of the traffic is on the other side of the pond from the United States. So here's a breakdown of traffic around the world. They're in 190 countries, and you can see the search traffic is just taking off. And of course, all their keywords are very, very, very strong, which means that if you're a competing website, you want to try and write articles and get in the middle of that traffic. You want to try and use the OneCoin keyword to try and get traffic to your website, because it is a highly trafficked keyword. Okay, so let's say that person says, hey Tom, you ought to invest in YoCoin. Okay, I've gotten that one recently. And so I go to YoCoin, and let's see what we got here. YoCoin, and let's take a look at what it looks like. Good. You know, again, another chart that's moving in the right direction. Again, it's only 63,000, so I'm going to wait a little while. You know, probably they start breaking into the 25,000s. They're starting to get some real traffic, 100,000 plus unique visitors a month. But I think it's important that, you know, I maybe keep an eye on that one. Let's take a look at Bitcoin real quick. Bitcoin would be obviously a popular one. And let's go to Bitcoin, not talk. Let me go backwards and find bitcoin.org. Interesting thing about this one is it's been around 7 years, and OneCoin has a higher rank. One Life has a higher rank than Bitcoin does. And OneCoin is growing, doubling. It's getting bigger than Bitcoin every 60 days. So 150,000 people joining a month. They're adding 300,000 new miners every 2 months, which is about the size of Bitcoin. So if you wonder why, there's a huge difference between 11,000, by the way, and 6,000. The traffic ramps up exponentially as you move up in the ranks. And really, to get into the top 1,000, you've got to have, you know, 10 million plus unique visitors a month coming to your website. So pretty good when you look at that. OneCoin is actually bigger than Bitcoin. And then there's one other that people talk about, of course, is Ethereum. And then after doing this, Ethereum.org, let's take a look how they're doing. They've had a lot of controversy lately, so, but good solid chart. And that's one of the reasons I'm investing in Ethereum and of course Bitcoin, because both of them have really strong Alexa rankings. They're building communities. They have lots of traffic coming to their websites. So I think that's very important for you to take note of. Okay. But Alexa's just a, you'll have people out there. I have negative comments on this video like, oh, Alexa's, BS. Alexa's not BS. Okay. The number one criteria, or probably one of the top three criteria for building a successful cryptocurrency. Number one, you got to have an algorithm. You got to have a community of miners, which that's what drives Alexa. You got to have a wallet and an exchange where you can actually buy and sell the coins, and you got to have usability, where merchants are willing to take the coins. And that's the fourth component that most of the cryptocurrencies have struggled with. And so I just want to give you a little education on that. So let's go back and say, why does Cointelegraph like writing articles, negative articles about OneCoin? Well, let's take a look at and see what's going on here. So we hit find. Okay, so they wrote a negative article about OneCoin about June of 2016. Oh no. Guess what happened? And you're like, oh, well, how can you prove that, Tom? Pretty simple. I just go down here and I look at all the words they're getting traffic off of. Oh my God, 8.6 off OneCoin scam, 3.7 off of OneCoin, number 5, 3%. So 15% of this company's overall web traffic comes from an article bashing OneCoin. Okay, and that's real great for a news organization that's trying to support the industry. Of course, they're a little bit biased towards Bitcoin, but it didn't help that when OneCoin had their conference, Dr. Rusha walked out and it said the Bitcoin killer behind her. So that probably didn't set too well with the diehards of Bitcoin, as you can imagine, and Ethereum. At least she didn't say the Ethereum killer, which that may be at the next conference. You never know. But looking at that, it's like, oh wow. And then of course recently news.btc, which is a little bit more established site, and I was surprised that they printed this information by this fictitious author by the name of Temptation. The guy doesn't use his real name. He's basically a no-name waiter at a restaurant. And guy's bipolar as hell and absolutely has a hard-on for OneCoin. And all he wants to do is bash it. And he's been getting some attention. And I personally feel like he's one of those kids that maybe didn't get hugged enough by his father. And I have some empathy for him. But at the end of the day, he's a no-name reporter that can barely hold down a job. He works part-time at a restaurant. And ultimately, the guy has got himself a little bit of fame because he got a big website to reprint his article with very, very little substantiated in that article. So when you run across negative media, you got to go, okay, number one, does the website drive its revenues from advertising? And if the answer is yes, immediately you could probably discredit most of what they're printing because it's probably just yellow journalism trying to get more traffic. And a lot of these websites are struggling right now to try and, make their place in this new industry. And so anything they can do to get top search results, you'll find most of these media organizations will sell their soul to get top search results. And it's unfortunate that in this country that libel is not a more serious crime, but really they should be able to put news organizations out of business who print libelous information and false information, really purely mainly to drive web traffic, which is what we're seeing with Cointelegraph, which is unfortunate because I've found some really great articles on Cointelegraph. And truth is, if they actually did due diligence on OneCoin and they learned about it and did an insider story on it, it would be their number one article of all time if they actually did a real article on OneCoin and printed the truth. So when we look at certainly news.btc, nothing really showing analytically. I mean, they had a little bump in their traffic recently, but and it was probably due to the article, negative article they printed on OneCoin from the no-name reporter Temptation. But you can see they had a little bit of jump in their traffic in June when they printed the negative article. But they've got pretty decent traffic. And they've got great articles on their website. It's unfortunate that they can't take the high road and actually do real due diligence. because what they're doing is they're printing misinformation. And in my opinion, they're discrediting the industry for doing that because, truth is, OneCoin's got 2.2 million members. It's the #1 ranked website in the entire digital currency industry. And I tell people you can point fingers at it, or you can say, hey, listen, I'm just going to make it one of my piece of my portfolio. I'm going to invest in it equally like I do in other companies and see if it works out. If they do become the AOL, well, you could make 100 to 200 times your money. When you think about what AOL did, if they are the Amazon, next thing you know, Jed's a millionaire, billionaire. So it's just a matter of finding the right companies to invest in, ignoring the noise on the internet, and using real numbers to justify. Let me repeat that. OneCoin is the #1 trafficked website in the entire digital currency industry in the world. Okay? And you can say, well, I found a negative article about it and I'm not going to invest. Well, you're the one that's going to lose out, because I don't think that's a wise way of doing it, because most of these websites that are publishing articles are advertising driven. And it's a good idea, if you're in that media business, to print negative articles about the fastest growing company in the world, because if you do secure a top search result, it can make your website stand above everybody else's. So I just want to give you a little bit of education on how to analyze companies using Alexa.com. There's also a website called similarweb.com, and you can do the same thing with them. They'll give you additional data on where the website traffic is referring from, and you can kind of compare their data against Alexa. I like doing that. But if I'm going to invest in a digital currency company, I'll start paying attention after their Alexa is better than 50,000. If it's in the 25s, I'm game. I'm going to put some money in it. But my goal is to build a portfolio of 5 to 10 digital currencies that have Alexa rankings of 25,000 or above. So this is Tom with New Currency University. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're looking to join a winning team in OneCoin and be a part of this incredible industry and get great advice on how to build a portfolio, certainly you can text COIN to 313131, and would love to talk with you about being involved in this very exciting, very disruptive industry. We love bankless banking. We love teaching people how to become investment bankers of cryptocurrency, and that's what we're doing in a very big way. So this is Tom signing off. Have a great day.